A warm welcome back to the channel. My name is Tom, and you're watching youtube.com/getnuanced. And in this video today, I just wanted to give a bit of a rant and just my thoughts on the current situation when it regards how COVID-19, the coronavirus, has really started to expose the socialite class, or I guess what we call in America, the celebrities from Hollywood. And I think that it is going to be very interesting as we move forward, as the society changes fundamentally to its core, both politically and culturally, from the effects and the aftermath, hopefully, of what will be the end of this nightmare when it comes to the coronavirus. And one of those in particular is that now celebrities who are deprived of the crowds of people that typically give them, the undeserved ovation that they feel they deserve and that they crave so deeply, like the substances and other things that they are probably doing behind the scenes. But as much as everyone loves a good party, I think that these celebrities, in their attempts to come off as relatable, have shown how out of touch they really are. And ironically, I think that even the more normie types, the people that typically obsess over these people and really put them on a pedestal and worship them, much like the ancients had worshipped the various polytheistic deities that they looked up to and the demigods that manifested as the agents that they thought the gods had. And I think that it really does go to show why, if anything, celebrities should show people how and why religion was used historically and to this day as a political tool for those who knew that it could be effective when it comes to manipulating and also configuring the political nature of society. Religion can be used in a secular sense to justify and provide legitimacy to the leadership. And obviously, if you look only at the Roman Empire or even the United States and even Britain during its height as the British Empire, it can only be said that that is something that still proves true in other ways today, and maybe more than most people really realize. And I think that the celebrities have shown now, like people like the Kardashians and all these other people. I think like that one girl who, actually, now that I think about it, there's this whole allegation with Joe Biden potentially sexually assaulting someone who was a former staffer. This Ashley Milano girl who claims that she believes all women and she is a woman, and then when someone comes out with allegations that should be given the same sort of legitimacy, and if anything more so than what I would think, if anything, she came out beforehand claiming that all women should be believed. Her, along with that organization, Time's Up, completely silent, and it goes to show how hypocritical both the media and the celebrity classes are, and how much the celebrity class is the more, the public relations arm, in a way, of the landed elite, the aristocracy. Most of these people are simply famous for being the descendants of titans of industry, or people that were maybe worth something, but now their offspring clearly are just living off of the fat and the spoils of their exploits, and are in contrast, like someone only like Paris Hilton, for example, contrasting her with her great-grandfather, who founded the Hilton hotels. She clearly is just someone who's enjoying a passive income and essentially offering nothing but, unearned narcissism and unwarranted self-importance to the world. But that's neither here nor there. I think that all of these celebrities represent, to a large extent, the tools of the political establishment, and how they've been able to adapt with the internet, and even beforehand with mass media elements such as radio and television, an effective form of propaganda that is able to placate and distract people from more pressing issues. As a lot of these people, their takes, if one only has to look at The View or the Ellen DeGeneres show to see people with apologetics for George Bush and people like John McCain and other war-hungry warmongers, people that will cover President Barack Obama at a hospital during Christmas in the United States, but completely disregard and conveniently leave out the fact that he had himself signed an executive order to drone strike. And the cats are, I don't know, why are you guys fighting? These are the cats. This is Luna. This is Kitty, who's a jerk sometimes and bullies Luna. But yeah, Obama had signed an order, our drone striker in chief at the time, to drone strike a hospital that killed hundreds of children in Afghanistan, I think, in Kunduz province. All of these things are just obfuscated and omitted, and these celebrities, anytime they do consciously give a political take, it is the type of political take that would probably cause many of you, like for me, to lose brain cells and to, if anything, be just seen as nothing more than comedy, when they're in their heads they think this is some intellectual or, politically savvy thing to say. And they're completely biased, but the reality is they don't think that they are. They think that they're arbiters of truth, and because of their position in society and their wealth and their connections, they think that they're better than everybody else and are the ones selected by, I guess, like how Miley Cyrus said, they're basically able to feel and kind of, gauge society in a way that somehow is more in-depth and thoughtful than everybody else, which clearly is not the case. You have plenty of rich people that are intelligent, and then plenty of rich people that are stupid. And I think the same can be said with people who are of a lower income to even the lowest income brackets. There are some really intelligent people who are thoughtful and philosophical and offer substantive approaches to society. The difference is, maybe for whatever reason, as we all understand, you weren't born into a family that had those connections, or maybe or you have a culture or a background that in some ways prohibited you, or geographically were born somewhere that didn't have the resources or the ability to yield such a similar lifestyle that these celebrities think is possible, that you can just somehow become a zero and then still make it to such a height, when the reality is social mobility does exist in the United States, but it's definitely not as fluid as when most of the baby boomers were the age of most millennials and Gen Z. I think the times have changed, and a lot of these celebrities are the product of the era that was pre-internet and pre-COVID-19. Hopefully they become fossils of this soon-to-be bygone era, and more people start to look up to people that are actually more than just people who can sing well or provide artistic and creative content, which, listen, I know there's a value for that in society. Don't get me wrong, and I'm sure on an individual level, a lot of these people are nice people, and they're not all like Justin Bieber who treat their fans like crap. But that doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, they're not using their platform or their influence to benefit society. They're using it to, I guess, as a way for people to pay homage to their glory and what they perceive as their glory, and be able to vent about how rich and famous they are and how difficult it is to be them and how special that they think that they are. It's mostly just drama, and I mean, as entertainment, it has had its place. But now I think that we're moving into this brave new world where we can, I guess, deficit spend trillions of dollars, and despite this being another corporate bailout, get breadcrumbs for the masses, and then have celebrities like Ellen DeGeneres, who hangs out with people like George W. Bush, George Bush, the guy who started the Iraq War, and that had led to the deaths of thousands of American soldiers, and I think over 1 million Iraqis. It also left a power vacuum after the United States got rid of Saddam Hussein, which led to the rise of the Islamic State, ISIS, and had given Al-Qaeda and its affiliates the room to maneuver in an otherwise Ba'athist and secular Iraq, which, if you look at videos from the 70s, it's really a shame what happened to Baghdad. Baghdad is a city that really has tons of rich history, somewhere where I'd love to visit if it was still at its height, which in the Middle Ages was the hub of knowledge and wisdom, and where much of the Western philosophy that we can benefit from today, from the ancients, was preserved and transcribed into Arabic. And I think that it's a shame that we are in the situation that we're in, that we have a foreign policy and a country that is doing the things that it is, which I'll definitely get into future videos of. But the worst part is that we have a class of celebrities that pretend to be altruistic, but in reality are just entirely self-interested, and they are not really using their platforms to do anything but post distraction content, and I think that we need to start moving away from that as a society. I was never really into a lot of these people. I think to a degree it's ironic to pay attention to some of them, and I think that we can study how they've been able to amplify their voices. Some are clearly more talented, more intelligent than others, but I think it is helpful when it comes to creating actual positive, I guess. I mean, it is really, it's, at the end of the day, distributing political information, regardless of its contents, is a form of propaganda. But I think we could really use positive propaganda that reinforces the values that we'd like to see for a society that is as compassionate as it claims to be, and is one that people care about substance and are interested in things such as philosophy and are politically conscious of the world and country that they're living in. Maybe it's just wishful thinking, but I think that regardless, hopefully you are in the same camp as I am and are ready to say your history to all the celebrities that have had their days in the sun now, but going forward, I think the less that we can hear from them, the better. And maybe they can use the free time they have living in their palatial splendor, the mansions that they, in one way or another, have, locked themselves away in to hide from the virus. Maybe they can gain self-awareness and hopefully come to planet Earth with the rest of us and start using their platforms as mediums for good instead of mediums for disinformation and just, being egotistical assholes, which a lot of them are, and even the ones that aren't, which I'm sure there are plenty. Come on, guys, step it up. This is a world that that's not only going to exist when you do. The decisions we make now have an impact going forward for not just the foreseeable future, but for our 20th or 21st next generation, next of kin. And I think that we should try to leave the world in a better position than it was. I think the idea of these ideas being too radical, the ones I usually talk about, it's ridiculous. I think it's not radical to have a type of capitalism that is not completely profit-based and is more human-centered, as Andrew Yang, as someone I definitely don't respect as much anymore after working for CNN and endorsing Biden. But when it came to his platform of trying to maybe put people before profits and other people who have that kind of mentality, I deeply respect that. And I think with other disagreements, which can be had, I think if a coalition can be formed and maybe these celebrities start to produce more than empty noise and start giving political takes that are substantive and not based on apologetics for war criminals and the worst in our society, such as the pharma lobby and the military-industrial complex, among other corporate interests that are strangling the life out of our country and strangling the life out of any sort of positive and peaceful future that this country can have and the citizens can have. But hopefully I'm not just wishfully thinking. If you agree with what I'm saying right now, I'm curious. And if you're not, I'm even more curious. Leave your comments below. Subscribe if you're interested in listening to other content or watching other content, depending on if I podcast or not in the near future. This has been Tom. You're watching youtube.com/getnuanced. Make sure to stay safe out there. And try to do social distance. Don't be one of these stupid celebrities like Vanessa Hudgens, who originally came out and was just a complete asshole, honestly. And it made light of the fact that she's in this palace right now and other people are struggling to make ends meet and the virus was not as big of a deal. Some of these celebrities, I know many are not going to say this and it's politically incorrect, would be better off catching the coronavirus, as I think the virus, if anything, would, as for awful as it is, and I don't want any innocent person who is just trying to make ends meet, regardless of who they are, their origins, or their economic status, to suffer. But for these celebrities that think they're in this, they're standing on a higher plateau, a higher moral plateau, and in reality they're just in an ivory tower. Screw you guys. You guys are overrated and hopefully a product of the past. But I'll catch you guys next video I make real soon. I doubt any celebrities are watching this, and if they do, I'm sure they stop watching now. But for the rest of you guys, stay safe, and hopefully everything will get better sooner rather than later. Peace out.